Josiah, let's get the bad stuff out of the way first. The injury, you know, how did you go walk through how it happened? Did you know right away it was serious, and how devastating is it? Pretty quickly, you realize your season's probably over.
Yeah, I mean, when it happened right away, I knew it was pretty bad. Just for my senior year of high school, I had injured my knee as well, which put me out for quite a bit of time. But yeah, once it happened, I kind of knew, and then I didn't know exactly maybe what it was or whether MCL, ACL, just because I know in high school I had an MCL injury. And then once I got the MRI and they kind of told me everything that happened, then I knew it was pretty bad. And then especially going out to LA to get the surgery done, just a lot more that happened that we didn't really know beforehand. And yeah, but yeah, it was pretty hard injury. Pretty devastating at the time. Looking forward to the season, but everything happens for a reason.
What did you do when you're not playing? Coaches talk you were in meetings a lot. You were tuned in even though you couldn't get on the field. So, what were you involved in?
Yeah, I know. Biggest thing, especially Coach Coons, he wanted to just make sure I was still involved. Still learning the playbook, and then just still growing mentally, even though I couldn't be out there physically, and just watching film from just week to week on our opponents. Just being in meetings, asking questions, being in there, being talkative, and then just answering questions he had for me. And every week he would try to set apart time for me and him, just go in there, watch film on just what I thought, what I saw on different plays that we had, and just making sure I was still in tune mentally and with the game.
From a family of linebackers, how are you similar or different than your brother and your dad?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we all had different games, but we all take something from my dad that he really instilled in all of us, and that physical part of the game and how they really played the game back in the day. That was something like, they did it in his time, and he really instilled in us, and just really how to not only play the run game, but how to destroy blockers and just be a linebacker and be a leader. And that was the biggest thing. And me and my brother, I feel like just personality-wise, we're also like two different people. Also our game. He's good at a lot of the things I'm not good at. I'm good at a lot of other things that he may not be better at that we both have to work on. But, yeah, I know I take a lot of things from his game. He takes things from my game. But we just, enjoy being around each other. And, yeah.
I was going to say, you mentioned the physical part. Did that go in the backyard? I mean, did your dad line you guys up? I mean, how did that work?
Oh, yeah, there's a bunch of memories, just not even being in the backyard, being in the living room, having to do tackling and hitting drills with each other when we were younger. It wasn't too fun for me. It probably was fun for him, but yeah, a lot of memories, just, growing up, doing tackling drills, practicing together and everything like that.
Did you go through a lot of furniture, a lot of glassware?
No, we had to make sure we moved all the furniture kind of out the way to create some room and probably put some, cushion on the ground, make sure no one got too badly hurt, but yeah.
And your dad let it go, or did he referee you guys pretty good? Or
yeah, he would referee it, he would referee it, watch it, make sure it never got out of hand, at least for my sake, but yeah.
Do you remember seeing your dad play? And did you appreciate that I'm a kid walking around an NFL locker room?
Oh, yeah. I mean, when I was younger, I didn't really remember as much. I was real young. I know especially by the time when he retired, I was probably around the time when I kind of remembered it. Only really vivid memories when he was with the Buccaneers, one game there. But I was really young at the time. But, after the when he retired, being around the locker room a little bit after that when you go back to facilities or games. But really appreciated it when I was young just to be there. But, really just as a kid, you're just seeing a lot of older guys you look up to and other players and being at the games, kind of just mostly just being in the moment.
Piece of advice he gave you, something you kind of live by as a player?
Really just work ethic, how you just carry yourself every day. That's the biggest thing, and how you do everything. And just making sure whatever you do, just make sure you just leave your mark and your standpoint on everything, especially in practice, in games, whatever you do.
What about Cole talking about you on the iPad and the studying part? Was that something he said? Hey, listen, you got to get in the books and you got to know your things. You're going to be a player.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, watching film, he always told us, but really watching film is really up to you because he can always tell us to do it, but you could just stare at it blankly and then just let it run, really. But watching film and watching football is always something I just love to do, especially watching film. I feel like it really just gives you the answers to any test that you want and just sets you up for success. So watching film really wasn't a problem for me, and I feel like watching film and just going over plays, especially the good or bad ones, but mostly focusing on the bad ones, really helped me.
You watch games with him a lot?
Yeah, no doubt. When we were younger, we watched a good amount of football games. Try to also spend time outside of football, especially outside of football season. Just not always talking about football, but yeah, we watched games together.
Would he get in the weeds with you a little bit and talk about technique, or was it?
Yeah. I mean, there'll be a few times we watching games and then like you see what the linebacker did right there, or like what could he have done better. So he's always constantly coaching us up, or sending us videos about something that he sees or something we should try, whatever the case is.
Besides your dad, are there any former teammates of his or any peers of his from the NFL that you've kept in contact with that are like mentors to you?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a bunch. I mean, I met a lot of dudes. I mean, Brian Dawkins, one of the biggest ones. Brian Dawkins, that's like one of the biggest family friends. We've known him and his family for a very long time. And him and his wife always keep in contact with us. And, I really look up to Brian Dawkins. That's one of the other dudes like I like to watch, just from the standpoint of his not only mentality, but what he brought to the game. And just watching him and him also, knowing us from a young age, just talking to us and always helping us out and being there just for us as just like another person we can reach out to and talk to.
What are you going to bring to this team?
One, I hope is physicality. I want to just bring physicality, bring that, to West Virginia, and I feel like that's the reason why I was brought here. But also smarts, leadership. I want to be able to, allow my play to be able to describe itself, but also be that QB of the defense and be able to bring my guys together in the hard points or the good points of the game, and just really just be able to change outcomes of games as well and be a playmaker.
So a couple quick two parts here. Firstly, so obviously you were here last year, but you weren't able to participate. Now that you're here and now that you're eating it day in and day out, is this what you thought it was going to be like when you chose West Virginia?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, coming into this, you never know exactly, but having an older brother too that went throughout college, you kind of get an idea of kind of what college football is like, kind of the schedule, what you kind of go through, what's hard, what's not. But I do know it's like two different programs, but kind of doing it and everything now, it's kind of everything I expected from kind of watching from the outside in. Still being in the locker room, seeing guys like sore, banged up, but especially being in a fall camp where I wasn't able to do this last year. I can really see, how it was for these guys and how when you get in the fall camp, it can really be hard.
The second part of it is, as you said, you'd like to watch film. Mm-hmm. So from a linebacker standpoint, you're watching this offense that you're practicing against every day. What is going to be the challenge for opposing defenses each week when they play against this offense?
Oh, everything, honestly, just how they motion, they shift, just knowing the personnel that's in the game. I feel like even with the personnel in the game, I feel like it's still going to be hard to game plan. We have two great running backs in the backfield where if we have both of them in, it's going to be a problem for a lot of defenses. And then also you have a QB back there that's a dual threat that can do it all. And that's going to be hard to game plan the passing game with the wide receivers that we have, and then also if he wants to take off, or even just run the ball. But, I mean, it's going to be pretty hard from the game plan, our offense, which honestly helps us a lot, getting ready for the season, for a lot of teams that we're going to play whose personnel could be pretty similar to our offense. So, I mean, it's really just not only helping us, but I feel like a lot of these defenses are going to have quite a bit of trouble in their hands.
Got to ask you one more about your dad. Did you and your brother have to work at the car wash?
No, we were pretty young. We were pretty young when the car wash was going on. I remember being over there, especially after school. We would go over there sometimes, and then I have to like practice on my counting and stuff like that. But I was real young. But no, we didn't have to do any detailing or anything like that. But when we got older, we did have to make sure we were washing his car and then the other cars. So he did have us washing cars and stuff as we got older.
What's it like washing a guy's car who runs a car wash? I mean, you got to get in there.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Especially when it's pretty hot out. But you really gotta get in there. He wanted to make sure it was perfect. He would send us back out there and redo it again if it wasn't good enough. But yeah.
Tire black and hubcaps.
Yeah. Make sure we vacuumed and everything. Yeah.
Josiah, St. Joseph Brat. Planning on building a pipeline here? There's a couple guys here. You doing any recruiting work?
Yeah, no doubt. Especially with Brandon Raymond that just came in. When he was in high school, just wanted to let his recruiting be his recruiting. But when he started getting serious, started talking to him a little bit, just tell him how it was here. But definitely a pipeline, especially of guys trying to get more as much as we can, depending on like who the coaches want. But yeah, definitely trying to make it a pipeline if it can happen.
And back to the car stuff. You at Pocono a couple weeks ago?
Say that again?
Were you at Pocono a couple weeks ago?
No.
Didn't get to fire the engines?
No, I wasn't there. No. Yeah.
Walk me through your recruiting. Besides, West Virginia, who else, and ultimately why West Virginia?
Yeah, so with my recruitment, I had a lot of big schools between like Ohio State, Clemson, my brother's school, Oregon, Notre Dame, South Carolina. The list goes on. There's a lot other schools too. And crazy thing is, West Virginia actually came in a lot later on after like I had a lot of those big schools. And I never thought I honestly would be here until, Coach Coons really reached out and was texting me pretty consistently. And I decided to talk to my dad, take a visit. And I wasn't the recruit to really look at logos and how big a school was. I wanted to go somewhere that really wanted me for me. I could fit within the scheme, the culture, and make a big impact. And he kept reaching out, and I took a visit, fell in love with it, and the scheme, the coaches, the area, and how the fans treated the team and what the WV logo really meant to West Virginia. And I love seeing how Carl Joseph, Tavon Austin, a lot of those older dudes really made an impact on this team and this, the state. And I wanted to be able to do that and, really be able to bring that back to West Virginia. And that was one of the biggest things.
I was going to say, you get a lot of texts from a lot of different coaches. What set West Virginia apart from all those other text messages you got?
I really just say, when they need you and when they like you. That's the biggest thing, especially as a recruit. And you want to go where you're needed, not where you're just liked or even wanted to. And I knew that they didn't just like me; they needed and they wanted me. And that was something that really just set them apart from everybody else. And a couple other schools, and just the scheme and the fit. I really love this defense, especially fitting in with Coach Leslie's defense. Fits me really good. And just being able to play either Mike, Will, whatever the case is, or coming off the edge. But yeah.
You feel like you're ready? I mean,
you said a couple of things about you wanted to bring, physicality, making an impact. I imagine you wanted to start right away, and it sounded like you were going to play last year. Was that a goal, being on the field in the defense as a true freshman?
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, coming in here, that was that was a big thing, especially coming here. I wanted to be, make an impact right away, no matter what it was, and I had a chance to be able to compete for a starting job, and went sideways. I had other plans. Other plans happened, but got to restart and then come back this year and make a statement.
It sounds like maybe you know no other way, but when you do get sidelined last year and that goal gets taken away, you're not going to waste that time. Were you more dedicated, or did you just kind of do what you figured you were going to do anyways when it came to all the stuff you mentioned about staying in tune with the defense and the team?
Can you
Yeah, that was terrible. My bad. Let's start again on that one. You're sidelined last year at the injury, but it doesn't sound like that derailed your season completely. Did you always have a plan upon getting injured to, hey, let's make the most of this? It's not a total loss.
Yeah. Especially once it happened. As kind of get into the rhythm of things once I'm injured, talking to coaches, just trying to figure out, all right, what can I gain from this? What can I take out of it? And the best part was really just the mental part, because of course physically I can't be out there or do anything, but it's really the mental part, and the only physical part I could really do was really lift and just get stronger for next year and just prepare my body, upper body wise and then lower body, and just really just get my body right. And that was really the biggest things, really.
Josiah, you talked about watching the film a lot. Has your dad given you any pointers now that you guys are going to have the tablets on the sideline of how to dissect that film and those things in real time during the course of a game? Have you all talked about that at all?
So in high school, we actually had tablets too. So it was already kind of once I got to college, it was kind of weird because in high school, we're used to having the tablets on the sidelines at St. Joe's Prep. And then once I got to college, I kind of forgot that we don't have it anymore. But now that we have it, I'm kind of used to it already. So kind of already know what to look for, and then how to kind of coach myself up if I see something on the tablets, whatever the case is. But yeah, I'm already kind of used to it from having it in high school.
Are you giving pointers to other guys on the defense then of how they can take that information in real time?
We haven't really got there yet. I know as we start to get closer, the coaches will really talk to us. But if there's anything I see, of course, I want to be there to help my guys, to give them any pointers or anything like that once we get there. But really just leaving that up to the coaches really at this point.
Ask about the dynamic of being a former NFL All-Pro son there of what I mean, everybody's dad's a hero, but I mean you got film. Did you, when you looked at film of him, was there anything you saw among him that you wanted that you said, damn, he's pretty good?
Yeah.
Was there a play?
I would definitely say in the run game, there's a bunch of plays where it's just dang, I mean, can't believe my dad did that. Because sometimes I just look at him as dad, especially when I was younger, but growing up and then, watching more of his highlights and everything like that, seeing a lot of the players that he went against, and then, former players, just telling me how great he was, it's kind of dang. But there's a bunch of plays, honestly. I don't think I really have a specific play, but there's a bunch of plays where it's just dang, I can't believe he did that,
It's a shadow.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you want to create your own identity
Right.
eventually as you go along. I mean, is that hard to do, or, because there are going to be a lot of people that compare you to him?
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, I kind of embrace it at this point. You know, especially having my dad and then my brother who went to Clemson. You know, that's one of the big reasons why I want to also come here. You know, create a name for myself and do my own thing. A lot of people thought I probably would follow him to Clemson. You know, kind of team up with him, but I wanted to go somewhere else and kind of create my own name and path. And you know, no matter what, I mean, I'm always gonna have my dad and my brother, but I'm not afraid to be in anyone's shadow. But you know, I'm gonna create a name for myself.
Has he ever told you
Good job.
Say it again.
Has he ever told you the story about him and Kevin Mathis getting in it and getting kicked out of the game?
Oh yeah. I think he was talking about that story. I think maybe a couple weeks ago when I was back home about that story. But yeah, I never knew about that story until maybe I was like in 8th grade, and someone had told me about it. I was like, they never got kicked out of the game before. And then I asked him, he's like, yeah, I got kicked out before. And so, say again. Oh yeah, pregame warm-ups. I believe he said like we had some family that came to the game, and then next thing you know, he's getting kicked out and he's not playing, and then yeah.
But that just demonstrates he meant business, right?
Oh
And
yeah,
that's
no doubt.
kind of
Yeah.
what he's passed on to you guys.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like your dad and your family did a really good job of balancing this so that you didn't have pressure, showing you how to play, putting you through some stressful, times, practices, things like that, but then things off the field too. Is that the case? Did that help you develop, do you feel like?
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, just having my dad, with workouts. Also my brother, he set a great example for me just growing up, just how to work, how to handle your business, the consistency that it takes, and what it does to be great for him growing up. But also having my dad just to show us the hoops of what it takes to also be a pro, what you need to do, just the in and outs of everything. So it really just set a groundwork. But at the end of the day, it was really up to us if we really wanted to put the work in and really wanted it. And so really, we had to really put our foot first and really take care of everything.
You mentioned a couple of off-the-field things that you and your family did with that, like besides the car wash. Anything stand out, or was that just really good time to be away from football?
Yeah, it was just a good time to be away from football, especially when we're out of season. We try not to even talk about football. We just try to do everything else, just try to enjoy each other, go to the movies, whatever the case is, and then just try to, one, just get our minds off of football, but also allow our bodies just to relax and just, take a break from it, because at the same time, as much as we love it, we also need a break from it at the same time.